Here is another gentleman by the name of Greg. He's with our outpatient at St. Charles. And Greg is basically a new injury. He's been hurt about 6 months. And again, what I was saying is everything stems from the wheelie. What I'm showing here is the stairs. God forbid there is a fire or there's an issue, you want to be able to navigate stairs. First thing they do when you have a fire alarm in a hotel or something is they turn the elevators off. It's great that people are willing to pick you up, but it is scary, somebody carrying you down a flight of stairs in a wheelchair. If they slip, something happens, you fall out, you're a little nervous. So I feel more comfortable being in control of the wheelchair myself and going down the stairs. And what you do is you come up, and again, this is also therapy, so we're trying to make it interesting and exciting. He got a little bored just doing the weights and the stretching, so I'm like, well, let's challenge ourselves in the wheelchairs and make it more fun. And again, have you prepared for when you go out into the community. And again, you just kind of grab the guardrail and you hold the wheels. And again, the big wheels always go first. So as you can see, I do everything from a wheelie. A lot of times when you're in the community, you'll do curbs, you do uneven surfaces, and you do it all from the wheelie because the front wheels on a wheelchair tend to get caught, and that would cause you to fall forward and lose your balance. And Greg's doing a great job here. A little sideways at first, but then he recovers very nicely. And again, it's exciting, it's fun, and this is where I also learned this from when I was playing the adaptive sports, where I said the mentoring came in. I was a little nervous to do this, and I was with a bunch of the guys, and they challenged me, and we ended up doing the stairs, and now here I am teaching it to somebody else. Here I'm explaining to Greg about uneven surfaces, and you can see the gravel's in front of us. And so much of this happens so often. When you want to be independent, you want to go places. Like, say, for instance, you're upstate, and you're visiting people, there's not always the greatest sidewalks or whatever. So if you can navigate through gravel, you can almost navigate through grass. Again, as long as you're in the big wheelie, it really helps you out getting through whatever you have to get through. You know, in the perfect world, everything would have ramps and be completely accessible. But what you find out is a lot of times where you go places, they're not, or people are not that knowledgeable. I've actually called a restaurant, and here's Alex showing off a little bit going through. Want a little shade there, but he's doing a great job. But getting back, I called a restaurant and asked, are you wheelchair accessible? They said, yeah, we only have one step. So they're a little confused. You're not wheelchair accessible if you have one step. So if you can navigate one step or a curb or something like that, it really makes for your quality of life. And that's something I try to push as much as possible. The great thing is if you could have a cure, excellent. But for right now, I would prefer the quality of life and be able to be as independent as possible. Here is another young man, Joe, who's less than a month injured. This is our downtown St. Charles area, a therapeutic area in the inpatient in Port Jeff. Joe is with his therapist, Allison, and what we're doing is working on car transfers. And the purpose of this is accessible vans are hard to come by. Sometimes you have to get signed up and get involved. It's an ambulance service. A lot of times, if you could just do a transfer into the car, it makes it a lot easier for getting the person home, getting the person to therapy. It just makes life a lot easier. And what Joe here is using, we're showing advanced skills. This is the basics. So there's a slide board that's going to allow Joe to actually help with his transfer. The one thing I'm noticing in this video is Joe doesn't have a seatbelt off yet. Oh, he's not going to go anywhere. So he's got to take the seatbelt off so he doesn't actually take the chair into the car with him. That goes in the trunk. But yeah, Joe's doing a great job, and like I said, he's only a month injured, and he transfers in with the slide board. As he gets his strength back, and we were talking about upper body strength, he'll be able to do a pop over without using the slide board, and that allows you to be a little more independent, where he would do it from the other side, and you could do a transfer into the car and then take the wheelchair apart and drive with hand controls, which is a great freedom once you can get out there. And we're just kind of finishing up. I'm teasing them a little bit, but yeah, there's so much more involved. You know, like I said, I was basically devastated with the injury, but once you realize you can do all these things, and technology is amazing, with hand controls that allow you to drive. If you notice, my wheelchair is pretty compact, light. All you got to do is push the little center button on the center of my wheel, and the wheel pops off. Okay, well, we're going to finish up. This is, again, downtown St. Charles. And I'm finishing up with Greg, and again, like we were saying about accessibility. A lot of times you're in these shopping centers, and they put the curb cuts all the way at the end of each shopping center, and it's a little tiresome to push to one end, or if it's raining. So what we do is teach them how to do the curb. So you can, again, what I was saying is that wheelie is really important. So what we were teaching Alex at the beginning comes into play here at the end. We're doing a wheelie so you can pop off the curb, and as well, Greg is doing a great job. He shows off a little bit here. and then you use the same wheelie to kind of go up the curb. And so a lot of times, well, like I said, if the curb cut's not there, then I go, ooh, I kind of just embarrassed myself a little bit there, but hopefully I can redeem myself. There we go. And, you know, this allows you to get around and be independent as possible. Again, like I said, it's all about quality of life. And I think when we started challenging the patients to do this, they had a lot of fun doing it. So, you know, it makes therapy exciting, makes them independent, and we have a really good time.
Wow, that is amazing. I mean, what I saw there, I've never seen before. I didn't know you could go up over a curb. Have you done that yet?
Yes, I've done that a couple of times.
Yeah? Was it really, really hard?
In the beginning it was. In the beginning they had me doing like a little wooden step.
Uh-huh.
Because I started out with 2 inches.
Yeah.
Went to 4 and then about 8 inches.
That's pretty good.
It's my star pupil.
Yeah, I guess I can imagine. So what do you want to be when you grow up then?
I really don't know yet.
Yeah, you thinking about it?
Yeah.
Maybe you do a little something like Bill's doing, huh?
Yeah, maybe.
Never can tell. How did you get involved with St. Charles?
Funny thing, I worked for an organization called United Spinal, formerly Eastern Paralyzed Veterans, and my job was to go around to the local hospitals and get involved and meet new injuries. And St. Charles was one of the regular hospitals I went to, and I went out there, and a young lady by the name of Julianne Kondo is a therapist. We kept talking back and forth, and the commute was killing me. I was like, I'd really like to do hands-on and give back into my community. I live out here in Ronkonkoma, and I wanted to be more involved in the community. And so I spoke with her, and then Dr. Semmel and Mr. O'Connor put their heads together and brought me on board, and it's been awesome since.
When you're at school, Alex, how does that, does the school have wheelchair accessibility for you? Or what do you do?
Well, they do have wheelchair accessibility, but a lot of the times, like, you'll see teachers go in the handicap parking spots. So, as Bill said, I have advanced wheelchair skills, so I have been able to get out of the car with little space because they have taught me. And so sometimes they don't have ramps, but luckily my school has ramps. So I get up in there, open the door, and I only have one class upstairs, which is art. So they have an elevator for me, so it's pretty wheelchair accessible.
Well, that's good. Now, what grade are you in?
I'm going to 7th.
Going into 7th. And how did you do this year? Pretty good?
Yeah, pretty good.
Made the honor roll.
Oh, honor roll. So that's more than pretty good. That's excellent. Excellent.
Yeah,
What's the most difficult thing about being in a wheelchair that you can talk about?
I get reminded, you know, now that I've been in the chair for a while, when I used to dwell on it, but like I said, my quality of life's up there. I play a lot of sports, whether it's sled hockey, softball, wheelchair football, skiing in Colorado, Utah.
You know, how do you ski in a wheelchair?
You don't. Everything's adaptive equipment, what they call as a monoski. You can find it out here in Windham Mountain, and basically it's a bucket with a ski underneath it, and you have 2 outriggers that allow you to hold yourself up with your balance. But I can be completely independent. I can ski as the hardest terrain. I've been in terrain parks, whether it's a half pipe, stuff like that. And I guess technology has just been really good to us these days. You know, when I play sled hockey, it's in a sled with ice skate blades underneath you, and you have 2 sticks that pick into the ice. And it's the same rules as the National Hockey League, so full contact. So if you want to get your aggression out, you can check the guys. The great thing is I've been affiliated with all the local teams, so we're sponsored by the Rangers, the Jets, the Mets, the Islanders, the Yankees, and we get to travel playing with them. But going back to, there's certain days, like I was trying to actually explain to my son how to place his feet to hit a ball because he's in Little League right now. And that was frustrating because he was looking at me, he's like, Dad, I don't understand. And I wanted to try to show him. And when the feet didn't work, that was the only time. But for the most part, my life, I very rarely think about it.